Sometimes saying nothing is the best thing to say. Silence will always be golden. Look, I told you, I love my guy Cristiano. I mean no hate. I mean no madness or anything for your boy. I appreciate your boy Cristiano. But I just think that for your boy Cristiano, sometimes you have to think before you speak. You've got to try and think before you speak. Because Ballon d'Or is coming around. There's a huge Ballon d'Or debate between Yamal Dembele. And obviously Cristiano, he weighed in. And when he weighed in, he sort of put his foot in it because this is where you've got to think about what you're saying, because what you say can actually come back and haunt you. So we're talking about here. So obviously, we will go back to 2013, where Ribery got the UCL dub. And so what does this have to do with the Champions League? And we're going back to 2013, specifically with your boy Frank Ribery, mon ami. So this is what it's about. So this is what Cristiano said. For me, whoever wins the Ballon d'Or must be a player who won the Champions League. That's fair. He says, for me, whoever wins the Ballon d'Or must be, not might be or could be, must be a player who won the Champions League. I think that's fair. Now you can see the little reply that your boy from Ribery made, and I'll try and blow it up for you so you can see. So from Ribery responded to that by saying, so you need in big letters to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or. Can you see there? So, because what makes that so odd is people say, okay, how are we connecting the dots here? Because Ribery has never forgotten. I've never forgotten. And real football aficionados have never forgotten of the abhorrent, disgusting robbery that happened in 2013 and just fueled why this whole Ballon d'Or thing, it's trash and crap and all that matters are actually trophies. And because it's a separate video that I want to do, which is what I want to do away with the Ballon d'Or. Because you can't have an individual award for what is a team sport. It makes no sense. How are you giving out individual awards for what is a team sport? No one individual can win a trophy. An individual can be an important piece, but it's still a team. You should not have individual awards for a team sport, because by doing that, you demean the hard work of every other person on the team. Because if everyone doesn't do their job on that team, the team doesn't win, the player doesn't win, and the player doesn't get all that praise. So, where are we at right now? Hold on, where is this? There we go. So it was 2013. Ribery, Messi, Cristiano were all up for that award in 2013. But by Cristiano's metric, there was only one winner. Because this was the 12-13 season. We saw an excellent band side. You had Javi Martinez, you had Bart Simpson, you had Thomas Muller, you had Robin, you had Schweinsteiger, and you had Ribery, who everyone agreed was the best player that season. Now, stats mentions, this may be above your pay grade, and then stats mentions, this may be beyond your intelligence, but just try and keep up if you're a stats mentions here. He didn't score a lot of goals, but he was the best footballer. That's weird, isn't it? How could he be the best football player and he didn't have those many goals? Because people watched the games and people saw how important Ribery was to that team and how important he was to the function of that team. And the football he played was some of the best wing play I've ever seen from a traditional winger. You see, now we have inside forward, but Ribery was a throwback to how you used to play and operate that winger position, and how he played on all three fronts was some of the best play I've ever seen from a traditional winger I've ever seen. watching football, you'd have to go back to the days of freaking Figo and Giggs to see how good Ribery was. So, for Cristiano's logic, Ribery should win. Ribery should be a winner. Again, the Ballon d'Or winner must win the Champions League. Those are your words. The Ballon d'Or winner must win the Champions League. Those are the exact words that you said, Cristiano. So when you rewind back to 2013, Champions League final was done. Everyone thought, oh, Ribery, he's going to win it. And it was all done. Done. Voting is closed. Everything's done. Bayern were by far the best team. Ribery was by far the best player, and he tapped it off with winning the UCL, and he was exceptional in that final, actually contributing to one of the goals in that final against Dortmund. But something happened. And this is when I knew that, so this Ballon d'Or thing, so it's a narrative thing, it's trash, it's not real. There were World Cup qualifications happening for the 2014 World Cup. And Portugal were in the playoffs. So what they did was they extended it. They extended the voting. The voting was closed, but they extended it to try to give Cristiano a chance to win it. And what happened was Cristiano scored a hat-trick against Sweden that led them into the World Cup. And due to that, the Ballon d'Or was given to Cristiano. So again, Cristiano, what is it though? Well, Cristiano, if what you're saying is true, would you publicly come out and say that Ribery deserved that Ballon d'Or? That's what I want Cristiano to do. So Cristiano, if you believe, because you can't have it both ways. If you don't believe you have to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or, then hey, you don't have to say anything. But if you truly believe what you say, that you have to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or, will you come out in public and say that Ribery deserved that Ballon d'Or in 2013 and I did not deserve it because I did not win the Champions League? Because you can't now say, well, but I did score a hat-trick in a playoff game against Sweden. How does that trump a guy who was a crucial part of a treble-winning season where Bayern Munich were by far the best team in that season, and Frank Ribery was the best player on all three fronts? So that's just all I want to know from Cristiano is you have to respond. Because, as Ribery rightfully said, so you need to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or. Because Ribery is going to Cristiano. So, Cristiano, I need a response. So, Cristiano, do you need to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or? If you need to, then can you come out and say that, I didn't deserve the Ballon d'Or then because I didn't win the Champions League? I would love to hear his response. Like, I genuinely would love to hear his response because, Christian, this is when now you've now put yourself in a very tricky position now, because I cannot fathom Cristiano coming out and say that he did not deserve any of his Ballon d'Ors. He's not built like that. He'll never say that. There's no way there is no way. I will literally put money down. I will put money down that Cristiano Ronaldo will not come out and say that any of his Ballon d'Ors was not deserved. He'll never say that, because we know who he is and we know how he operates. But you're contradicting yourself though by saying that. Hence why I said, silence is sometimes the best thing, because if you come out, because again, that's the reason why I love this is that Ribery has never forgotten, and he never will. As much as I think Ballon d'Ors are stupid, as much as I think that you shouldn't chase individual awards, as much as I think that you should chase team awards, and that's what football is about, what happened to Ribery was really messed up. Because that was his moment of wow, encapsulating what was a truly special season of winning the treble, and you now sort of being awarded by just how good you were of that team with the Ballon d'Or. Just a nice cap-off of a great season, something memorable, just his moment that I'm sure he would share with the Bayern players. So of course he'll never forget, because he got screwed over. It's not as if it was for someone else. they changed the rules. They changed the rules. Like, I remember I said, like, no, so these guys are extending the voting to see what happens to Cristiano. That's insane. Like, you can't do that. So if I'm Ribery, I'm never going to forget that, and I'll always hold that. And by Cristiano coming out and saying that, that has now brought it back up. And Ribery is well within his rights to be like, yo, my guy, please come out and say that you stole my Ballon d'Or. If you don't believe that you stole my Ballon d'Or, then don't come out and say that you need to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or. It's simple. It's either or. Cristiano, it's either or. Either you're like, oh, well, maybe you don't need to win the Champions League if you are special, which is weird. Or you do need to win the Champions League and therefore I shouldn't have won the Ballon d'Or because I didn't win the Champions League that season. It should have gone to Ribery. Bottom line, guys, this Ballon d'Or stuff is stupid. The reason why I do it is because I have a job to do. I'm a football reporter and I have to report the football news. And I have to report on what interests people and what the footballing streets are saying. So I have to comment on it. But personally, growing up, who cared if R9 won the Ballon d'Or? Do you think R9 cared about the Ballon d'Or? All R9 cared about was, I need to win the World Cup. That's all he cared about. Ballon d'Or, yeah, that's nice, cool. Zidane, yeah, that's cool. All that mattered was the World Cup, the Champions League. The World Cup, the Champions League. Okay, league here. Oh, sorry. 3 trophies matter in football. Maybe 4, but really 3. The World Cup, the Champions League, and your Confederations Trophy. AFCON, Asia Cup, CONCACAF Cup, Gold Cup, Copa America, Euros. Those are the trophies that matter. And then you can say a league title. You should really win a league title, but primarily World Cup, Champions League, and your Continental Trophy. AFCON, Euros, Copa America, Asia Cup. Those are what really matters, not Ballon d'Or. That has nothing to do with your legacy. Maradona never won a Ballon d'Or. Pele never won a Ballon d'Or. And those are literally 2 of the greatest players of all time. And they never won a Ballon d'Or. So, again, pushing these things doesn't matter, but we get it. We understand it was all mess, Ronaldo stuff, who could win more and everything. It is what it is. But it's a team sport. But again, lastly, Cristiano, you need to respond. I need to know, do you need to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or? Or do you not need to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or? Please let us know. Think about becoming a Football Hut member. If you're a desktop merchant, just click on the join button below, over here. Or if you're a mobile phone merchant, just click on the join button below the video over here and join the true elite content crack addicts. Peace.